Hey everybody, Zyle here, back with another episode of Pips Not Included. Wanted to do another update on how things are progressing. It's the weekend, so I've had a lot of time to work on the bass and theory craft a few things. So in the last video, we had been talking about the Pip system and efficiencies of it and uses of it. And after I got done the video, I was thinking things. And one of the comments on my last video as well was pointing this out, that it seems almost ridiculous to be feeding this the staggering amount of polluted water that it requires in order to feed bracken to what I had then was a 96 size farm with 12 pips because of the bracken boost situation. Because the only thing that was doing was using up a lot of polluted water, but saving space. So basically, it's like, hey, for 70 kilograms a cycle, you could just add one more farm with 9 pips and a tree. And you're using way less polluted water. Yes, the downside is that you must use more space in order to achieve that result. So, but the trade-off when you're talking about, right now, one of these farms can hold in 96 tile area, 9 without using bracken, because you put a critter condo in, right? So you can have 9 up to 9 pips in a single place. It really is only if you want to save space, and now you can get the moose, and suddenly your whole thing will change because you're able to milk the moose, and they give like 200 kilograms of milking or something like that. So you'll be able to have all the bracken you want, and then you can do it. And then maybe it makes more sense to have those full-size farms with a max 12 pips. Just again on the spaced out DLC where the asteroids are a lot smaller, space is a bit of a premium, but not just necessarily the point that you would ever do what I'm doing here. I did it for experiment reasons, but you wouldn't do this because the space that you're taking to try and do that, you could just have another pip farm. So it got me thinking though, that yes, this is not ideal. And I certainly couldn't support doing more of them. And there just seems to be no advantage, which is a complaint I have for Klee, the guys who make the game, is, maybe you went a little bit excessive on the bracken requirements, unless the intention is the only way that it's going to be valuable and usable is if you've got moves. Okay, so it's an end game type thing. That's fine, because early on you can get this thing, and maybe the idea is like, yeah, you can mash up some plants and get some bracken and put it into a water cooler, which I've done in a rec room, and the dupes will drink it. And the good thing about it when they drink it is, as you can see, it reduces their stress 15% per cycle and gives them morale too. So it's actually early game, especially if you're playing on a super hard max difficulty run. It actually stress is quite the problem, and so it could be a factor where you could use it early on. But again, you'd have to either have nosh beans or a pinch of pepper or a sleet wheat happening in order to sort of consistently use that. So maybe off some of the natural on the map or something. But definitely, if you're going to use it related to farms to get the critter count increased, you would definitely have to do it with a moo farm. And that's very, very end game, late game. However, I have done some more theory crafting, and I have come up with some different setups, which I'm going to go over later. But the first thing is that I've got a rocket all set up here. It's time my food situation has gotten better because there's plant meat. Every 120 cycles, the plants drop a bunch of meat, and when that happens, even though a lot of my meat has gotten better and the food's gotten better, but I've been reducing the mealwood down. When the plant meat comes, it's time to be able to do things. So what I was able to do is sap out a cycle and a half of meat, make barbecue, and load into for the rocket. So inside here, we've got a bunch of barbecue stored up, and as we can see, there is 4,000, which is, I believe, 16,000 kcals, which would be enough for 8 cycles. Plus, what the dupe has, he'll come with like 3,000 stored in him. So you can go for about 8 or 9 cycles on a mission. So I'm ready to go and send him off. My as you can see here, my iron ore. It's gotten quite low. All my ores are low, so I need to go fill up again. So the idea is to send them off and let them fill up and go. So I'm ready to launch. So we'll get that going first and progressing, and then I'll go over some of the changes and systems that I've come up with. So in order to do that, let's change our destination and set it for our Soloila. It's good. Crew. Make sure. Yeah. So cruise destination set, cruise set. Okay, one thing I have here is this single airlock, and because I need the pilot to take an Atmos suit, so I have this set to off all the time. So this is always a fresh Atmos suit, so I don't end up going there and having a worn Atmos suit or something like that. So then I trigger this on. So then when he goes to go in his rocket, he should grab his suit. And then he will, unless he's dumb. If he does this, I'll just manually move him because I still need to reduce this ladder. I think 1 more tile in order for it to work, but he might jump up here and jump up here. So we'll just watch for that. So he should come and get his suit. He's been told to go. Destination set. I don't care about the lander. I'm not using it. We just need the pilot on board, and we can fire him off. So we'll just let it run and see which direction. Here he comes. Yep, and he's going to run along here. And if all things go well, get his suit. Yep, and get on board. Okay, and then we go inside. We have to set this to crew only and none, so everything is available. And just in case I'm not paying attention when he lands, we need to set this to metal ore. And now he will land and start grabbing all the ore he can and loading it up so we can come back with 20 tons minimum. So one last check. Everything's good in here. Luxury barracks, washroom, great hall. Everything is turned on. This is turned on. The pressure is high enough. The water's loaded and oxygen. So he's good to go. Okay, so we'll get him on his way, and then we'll go and look at some of the other stuff. Acknowledge warnings, and you can get out of here. Bye-bye. Now turn this. And it rains down all that steam and builds up in here. That's probably the first thing I'll look at. So kind of change things around. Have quite a bit of water because it's fallen down from the rocket launches. And I'd filled it up. It's just cooling. I won't get too deep into details of what I had all set up here because the old system is no longer necessary, and I'll show you why. Let's start this up, and you'll see the process of what's happening. Okay, as you can see, I've got 3 tons of glass already. So I've been making a fair bit of it, but I know now that I don't really need this. I'm going to leave it just, it's like almost like a safety lock, but you're going to see he'll come, they load it up. Now he's going to make one. Liquid drops out. It immediately gets picked up. I tried to make some logic that would let it sit here so I could dump heat into this water before it goes, but because the steam doesn't occur, this thing triggers. So I have a gate in here, but I probably need like a better gate system. So it'll leave it there for, maybe 200 seconds before it picks it up instead of trying to base it off if there's steam or not. So, but it doesn't matter because here's what happens. It picks up the glass. It's a small quantity, number one, right? It's only 25 kilograms. Okay. It travels along through here. I was trying to cool it down. Doesn't work very well. Don't care. Mad scientist stuff at play. I bring it all the way over here. And as you can see at the bottom, I am storing 3 tons of glass. And it's sitting at 45 degrees. So in it comes. Drops it down. Boom. Joins the mass. And we're at 48 degrees. That was 500 degree glass that was coming in. So with the way I've set that up, and the fact I'm not using glass that much, this is perfectly fine for getting it down to the temperature. I don't mind bringing in the base if it's 48 degrees when I'm using it, because I'm not using it for very much. Basically, I've replaced already these with glass, and then I'm going to do all the ones inside here. And that's all I really need glass at this moment for. So that system's kind of set up the way it is. We'll turn this off. We can do a sweep command on that just to get rid of the junk. And so also, as one of the people who comment on my videos quite often, I appreciate all the comments and the likes and so on. It's great to get. This was not running efficiently. And as I discovered, it was primarily because of how I was doing things. Added a second pump. So with this being an isolated pump and this one being isolated, now it's a steady stream that just continuously flows out, as we can see. Then it does go and end up bending around through this system in order to provide cooling. But the main core goes up and in first, streams out and around. You notice there's no hesitation. Every packet's full, and the aqua tuner is running full blast. So that is really good. So that got fixed because of me finally looking into it and some suggestions. Also, it's definitely helping because now we're at 46 degrees and dropping. So we are achieving the mass cooling of this whole thing, which helps counterbalance this one. So this one is not, even when it's dormant, we're not using it all up. So that's good. Down here, we have the similar style where I've gone and isolated this completely. So it's insulated. We're not bleeding any heat transfer into our cold hydrogen bank, as well as I've isolated just about all of this off because I don't need to go in here. There's no reason to. This is still a heat transfer leak, well, I guess thermal bridge as it's called. I'm not sure how you insulate that because like how do you block this off if you need to? I need to use to get this power wire out. So if anyone has suggestions, I know there's insulation, but I don't have iso resin, so it's not something I can utilize right now. And the same thing here. Even though I'm changing some of this around, this is a heat transfer point, so I guess this plastic tile would be. But it is what it is. This is circulating around, keeping it at a steady below zero rate. So I'm not that concerned about it. I keep an eye on it to make sure, but it never seems to really be dropping that much. It's very slow. Also move this over because of some new systems I've put in place. And I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, just always a good thing to do is after you launch a rocket is to always go and make sure that everything is going. So for some reason, probably because this is not disabled, he did not put his into here. I guess because there is no that's very odd. I really don't like the way the Atmosuit docks work. The logic is really strange. Like when he came in, he should have put his suit here. So I'm not entirely sure why, but that's why you should always go check shortly after launch a rocket to make sure everything inside is behaving the way. So one equip suit, and then I'll tell him deliver suit, and hopefully after he drives the rocket, he'll bring that over. Yeah, so he'll go and he'll deliver that. Okay, so that should be set up and working the way it should. Filling it up with oxygen. That could have been the issue. Maybe I needed the preload. I don't know. I'm not really sure why he would have not done that. Also, notice this bottle. Someone asked me about this. Why do you have this? Why don't you sweep this up? This has 143 kilograms of oxygen in it. In an emergency, absolute desperate situation, I could simply go and empty it, and it would maybe give him the oxygen he needed to get home or land or something, right? So it's just a backup supply. It's a good idea to do. It's not hard to create this scenario. You just have to delete an Atmosuit thing, and it'll drop on the ground. So it's a good idea to have some a bottle of oxygen in your rocket just in case, because there are times when you just misjudge things, and as you're getting in a situation where if I could just go a half cycle more, he'd live, and you just uncap this, and it's emergency oxygen supply just in case ever something's going crazy. So he looks like everything is going good for him. I did put the plastic tile in because these are actually good radiation blockers, so you can see it's actually one of the better spots now. But still haven't figured out how to jam more of them in to cover this area. So he has his food. Let's have a look at him. His stress is negative. That's good. So I'm not concerned. If I look at his skills for his morale, he's blasting his morale because he had been at the base. He only needs 16, so he should be good for morale. So I think he's on his way, and everything is good there. So next is let's get into this whole Pip situation. I have discovered how to do a really crazy Pip farm. I don't know. This is all new, these whole bracking systems. I've never seen anybody so far post about how to do this. What I have here is, this is the size of one farm, okay, roughly. So if you look, this is a 48 and this is a 48. And I'm feeding it bracking. How many pips do I have in here? Well, there's 10 in this one. There's 10 in this one. So in the space of one ranch, I have 20 pips. Now, when we were doing one ranch spacing 12 pips, it was like, well, it doesn't seem to be so worth it, to spend the resource in the bracking. You're not really gaining much and so on. And yes, it's still not ideal, except that right now with this polluted water, I have no use for it. So it's just sitting, as you can see, full because I haven't been using it. So now, because I let things back up, I was changing a bunch of stuff. So actually the pepper nuts have sort of built up a bit. They're rotting away, and the brackine is backed up. So the brackine is actually in excess. So, but since I have these farms here and I don't have any use for the polluted oxygen, I might as well run them, because what it is going to allow me to do is to immediately have this space to be 20. Now, how can it have 20? Well, it's the concept I had was, because if you add one more farm, you add one more tree, they use 70 kilograms per cycle of polluted water. All right. So that would be the idea. Oh, you got a farm, you want 9, you want more pips, make another farm, add another tree. It's only going to cost you 70 kilograms per cycle instead of, the outrageous amount that you need to make pepper nut into brackine, which is like 10x, right? So other than saving space, why would you do it? So the thing is, though, if you wanted to, and if you look at this one, let me step back a bit. So this farm has 9 creatures in it, and they're all should be doing okay. Here's happy. Some of them, it's just the ranchers are. You can see he's just getting to a bunch of them, right? But so it can support 9 because of the critter condo in the 96 tile farm. Okay, so that's not bad. And then I thought to myself, well, what if you split it in half? Could you jam everything into 2 48ers? And then instead of having 9, what you could get away with would be 5 and 5. And so that's what I've done down here. You got 5 over here, 5 over here, right? So we have 2 farms that are 48 tiles. So now, instead of 9, I've gotten one more. So that's a 10% gain on pips for space, right? And then, but by doing that, now you've doubled your water consumption, right? Now it's 70 kilograms for 2 trees. That doesn't make any sense, just to gain 1 extra pip. Well, it so happens that the way that the entire arbor tree pip feeding works and the water works and everything is it's like this, okay? So the pips eat a specific amount of the tree. The tree grows a specific amount, and if you feed one of these full blast but there's only 5 pips because a full blast tree will support 12.4 pips. Okay, so if you're feeding a tree full blast with polluted water, it's actually overproducing, and then what happens is you get this harvest ready, and then it will fall to the ground eventually as lumber. Okay, so you're actually feeding to make lumber, and I don't need lumber. So what you want to be doing with these is only, if there's a way to limit it, and there is, you basically, the tree's branches will grow when it's getting water, and when it's not getting water, they don't grow. The pips eat regardless. So what you want to be doing is feeding it, if you feed it 50% of the water it needs. So if I feed it 35 kilograms a cycle, then it's going to be able to support feeding about 6 pips. Right? So I did a bunch of math, and it works out that it's 10 grams per second of polluted water for a tree to grow once it's mature, to grow branches, to always have enough food available for a pip. 10 grams per second. So now every time when you do a farm, you need to feed the water in at 10 grams per second for each pip you want to have in. So I want to have 5 in here, so I need 50 grams per second. So you can see over here this valving system. This is why I put all this in. These are set to 50 grams a second, and that's what it gives it. And as you can see, because it's 12.4 and I went at 10, which is like I'm being overly optimistic, you even get branches that still go harvest ready, right? It's rare, but it can happen. And we look at the pips, and they're all happy. And their and then their kcals are all over 900, right? So they're full. They've been eating no problem, and I've been feeding it like that for a little bit. So, but it's very important that when you set this up, when you're first growing the tree, okay, to give it full amount, and then wait for it to get where it's growing branches. So it goes through its first phase where it grows itself. You want that to be fed fully so it grows as fast as possible. And then when its branches are going, what I do is I let them grow out so they become a little bit more like some of these more, you start to see branches sticking out, you get some 99 growth and so on. So it's a little bit along the way, right? Then you go and set this from what it is to its 50 grams per second, and you start metering it out, and that will support it. That math applies everywhere. So on a farm that was doing, now I haven't set it up on this side because I have to rearrange the airlock and move some stuff around in order to be able to run my new system in here, but that's for later. But on these ones of 9, you'd want to feed them 90 grams per second. So on the ones that have 10, I'm feeding them 100 grams per second, 10 per. So now I've actually, by doing this, I'm using less. And it will work out actually with, like, I've changed the whole system around, but it's going to work out that now the washrooms and the showers and stuff will supply the water necessary for the pip farms because you're not overproducing. Right? Before I was feeding it full blast to 70 kilograms for all 7 farms, but that's for 12.4 pips. So they were never eating enough, and I was making lumber. So now what will happen is the washrooms will fully support it, and it'll end up having to use this where if it backs up to that backup point, it'll start flooding into these as a reservoir. And it's supposed to, if ever it comes short, then it would fuel it, but it's never going to do that. Their waste is going to be more than enough, even when I get all the trees set up, because of the way I'm doing it. So the only way that it's going to get where I would need more water is if I just get so many pips going that it now actually at 10 grams per second is shooting over the moon. And it doesn't matter if it does. Like, I'll balance it out, because then I'm also bringing the water from this supply. Some goes up to the pinches, and the rest goes into here with a little bit of a buffer. Run it up here, and then it is fed injection style, where it goes over here and up here. So it's only going to be giving it water if this is available. But if this is backed up or full or anything, then it won't. So no matter what happens, whether I have enough or I don't have enough, the system will take care of itself, and there will always be water going, no matter what my settings are. It'll be working. So So that opens up new possibilities, because suddenly having 20 pips in the size of a single ranch is actually quite a lot. And it's if you had moose going with then brackine, you could get a lot of pips in a very small area. I think this is like the maximum efficiency you can possibly get into with the pip farming using the brackine and the new critter condo and the new mood system. As you can see, we can look at them. They're all happy, right? They're all happy. And if we go and we check, happiness is 4. And if we check the happiness, it's because they're groomed, they're hydrated, they're cozy. The cozy and tame balance out. And then crowded is -6, which equals 4 happiness, which equals happy pips, and everything is good, and their reproduction rate is max. So that is what I had come up with. Now, the next part, though, is, well, jamming everything in. So as you can see, it's pretty full. I have one space available after I've done this layout, and I don't know how to jam it in any better. The only way, I think, would be if I were to use only one of these and then use a gate that later that would split out what it is. And that's a possibility, but I decided that I wanted it to just be independent like this, where eggs go in one. So the eggs come in this one and go to off to the evolution chamber, and the dirt's out the other one, and you just call it a day, right? And then so that meant I wanted to wire my gauges outside of the farm, and so they sit outside. But theoretically, you could do this differently, and you probably even save a little bit more space by having this inside the farm and not having the second one of this, and utilizing a sorter for all the farms where the dirt goes one way and the eggs go the other. And I may end up revising to do that. I'm not sure, but I got so much of it done before I realized that perhaps that was a better solution, that I just decided, you know what, I like the way this sits. It looks good. I know this is this is the one farm, this is the other one, and I can adjust as I want. So anyway, so that's the thing. I've got where without the brackine, you can have 10 in the space of where normally our farms have 8 or 9 with the critter condo. But with the full out brackine system, 20. Yeah, 20 pips, and using less polluted water than I was before with 2 trees. At least I think so, if my math is right. It might not be. It might be that I was using a lower amount. But point is, it's definitely not using like if you were to be running this at full to the trees, because again, you don't need to grow these full. You need to grow them to a specific amount, and I worked it out. 10 grams per second per pip is an ideal setting. Okay, so my rocket has landed. This must be deactivated, or it's disabled. That's right. That's what I've done wrong. Okay, so he's landed, and he's just gone out and got scalded. So now I know what my problem was. I forgot all about having this switch on and off. So I've made one error in this video, and so be it. So he went out here. Where is he hiding? You need to get back inside and get your suit on ASAP. That is not good what you were doing there. Okay, now you can go and play. Have fun, buddy. All right, so now we'll just double check what is he doing out here. So the iron is more or less picked up, and he is doing a little bit of spot mining. And so I need to see how long he can survive before I have to return him. So far his stress is only 3%. He probably got upset because he got scalded. So he's got high morale, tootsies, sleeping on floor, which, okay. Not happy about the oxygen. That's because he ran outside. Soggy feet because he ran outside. So all that will just go away. Warm air, sopping wet. So all that will eventually go away. But he's still at negative stress, right, for overall. So even with him running outside like that accident, he's still at negative stress. The stress is not going to be the factor here. So the only other factor is oxygen and time. So that I have to pay attention to while he is hanging on this planet. Pretty good. I can see the dream theater down here. That's important. So I do need to get this colonized and get this unlocked, because that's a massive, massive buff for the entire colony everywhere, anywhere, as soon as you complete this. So then we also have the shipping container, right? That has the dude living inside it. I don't know the whole procedure. I've never done it, but I know the first step is knock on the door. And judging by the cartoon video that Clea had released, I watched that. It almost seems to me like you need to feed him a frost burger. So I'm gonna have to do that, of course. I don't know why. I just, when I find a puzzle like that, I have to do it. I don't know if it's an achievement or if it's it provides any real good value, but if it's there, I need to complete it on this run. I want to complete everything on this run that's possible. So yeah, there's a lot of resources because of the jungle biome and it's metal rich. So there's just a real good amount of resources on here. Okay, so he doesn't have that digging style, so I can't get over. Why won't that cancel? Oh well. No, maybe it wasn't active yet. No. Why is my cancel not working? Very strange. Oh, perhaps because he's inside. It seems to be buggy like that. So anyways, he's doing his thing. That's great. I don't know if there's anything. Oh, the other thing that I would talk about while he's mining is the Dreco farm. So I've changed a bunch of the logic on it. Now basically the way it's set up is if eggs are not needed, and I'm still testing it because I just made this switch, and it seems like, yeah, I think that there might be an issue with it. But the idea here is that, and I remember fixing it though, so I'm not entirely sure. The idea here though is if eggs are needed to fill this up, then they go to the incubators, and if they're and that's including keeping this thing, to 20 critters. So if there's less than 20 critters, the eggs are supposed to incubate, and if there's not, if it's full, if this was full and this was full, 8 plus 20, then it would just send all the eggs up to the evolution chamber. Now it seems to be working on this side, but I just saw there's a Dreco egg that for some reason is going up here. Now, it's not a big deal because when it misfires, the dupes will still go grab it. Well, not this time, but anyways, once it finishes, they'll go grab it. They'll still, if they need to put it in an incubator, they'll run back and they'll get it and they'll put it in. So it'll wind up here. But I was getting tired of just like, I had so many Drecos in here. Like I had like 25 at one point that I wanted to have it more controlled. So basically just put in a logic system. I won't get too deep into the details on it. That more or less just says like, hey, if you don't need eggs within this system, then it's okay to let them go through these and put them into the evolution chamber so they can eventually just appear here and get turned into meat. Because otherwise, if you did it where the dupes were having to do the work, it's just more work for them. Or they get built up where there's so many in here. I would just go in and kill a bunch of them. So that's just a further refinement to this entire system, which is to have that balanced out. Like I said, I just literally wired it all together and didn't even really test it or look too much at it before I can't believe how Mace. What is your skill? These guys are getting insane. 24 husbandry. I don't even know what the max of skills are, but 24 husbandry. It's because like from day one, ranching was part of the program and has been since. Look at his skills. He's like, and he did a lot of farming too. But 24 husbandry and athletics 16. So that's why when he runs over and hugs it, it takes like literally 1 second and it's done. So having ranchers with high skill makes large scale ranching so easy. So anyway, so that's let's go back and check on my my away mission. He must be outside. And now he's inside. So just gonna do this. Iron. So I know. Maybe we'll even just check copper. Never know. There might be some. And the other one was phosphorite. So I want to have all those where I know how many are available. So it's saying 0 iron ore. So that's why he's mining. Yeah, so he's cleaned up the last trip I came here. I pretty much cleaned up all the stuff the robots had mined out. I probably should get another rover. The problem is that it's uranium that it wants. Yeah. So, but I probably should get another rover going and just drop it here so that it can do some work. But it always gets stuck where there's like tiles that require specialized digging. Not that he has it either, but it's not like we're not at the point where we can just go, oh, dig this, and the way it goes. So this is a problem though. He's still inside. No, I don't know why that won't cancel. What am I doing wrong here? Never had that where I could not cancel a dig. I had to manually do it. It's very strange bug. So he can get up here. So I didn't really need to dig that out, but I want him to get working on this one. So this is a step. This he can step. So he can go the whole way. So we can get all that. I'm always concerned about when I'm not paying attention that they'll get themselves stuck if you just do a mass sweep. So I try and analyze it out. We'll just do all that. I know we can't reach that stuff so easily, but at least he can start to chip into that. And that is, we need to take this out. Let's make that a priority. And let's just take this out as well. Make that a priority. Just so it's going to be faster for him to and then you know what? We'll just clean this out as well. Is that copper? Yes, this is copper. So we're going to clean all that out as well, so that he can just have a good, more or less smooth run in and out, and that'll allow him to get the ore faster. So we'll get him doing all that. Okay, buddy, you should be interested in this one. And I'm just curious, like, how the food's holding up. So it's still a lot. Never a problem with the amount of food. It's always it's with the freshness, right? Like this stuff came in at 100%, and it's only been a couple cycles, and it's going down quite fast, right? So it's saying minus 13 per cycle, only minus 5 because of refrigerated, and normal atmosphere is minus 8. So not bad, but it still goes at a fairly fast rate. So bringing this much, like this will rot before he ever eats it all. That much, because maybe it'll be close. So, but more or less, like he can make it home in under 3 cycles. So as long as when you leave, if he has over 3,000, and he'll eat to over 3,000 when he eats. If he has over 3,000, so basically what you want to do is time your lunch so that you're eating the last of your food. If he has over 3,000, he'll make it back on that kcal without any food. So if you pay attention to it for a short trip, you can always use the dupe's inner buffer, and then when he gets back home, he can finally eat, right? So so I think that's more or less it for what I wanted to update for how things are going and any changes that I've made. Things are going much smoother. Food is when the plant meat shows up, but you can already see, like, even the barbecue and the meal ice is rotting. Like, there's always meal ice just sitting here because they have better food. Right, the barbecue's coming in consistently, and it's only getting better and better. The pip egg count is starting to get up higher. I had it up to 130 at one point, which means you'll be flush with meat when you get that egg count. But as I've been rejigging things, and again, it's cyclical. You can never ever go with like, oh, I have this many pips because this is how many my farms can hold. There will be ebbs and flows and death waves and so on based on cycles. The longer a system is in place and runs, the more static it will become, where things get more steady. And then but you can always guarantee that you should think like, hey, at any given moment, one of my ranches will have one less pip because I'm waiting for, even with nursery setup and everything, I'm waiting for replacement. Maybe it's only a cycle, but so you should always be overproducing slightly, whatever your food is, or have some backup source of food that's going to overproduce compared to what OniCalc says. because it is never a perfect system. You'll never get perfection. You may have a ranch where one of them is for a day is not happy because the rancher didn't get there in time, etc. So you should always be overproducing. Anyway, so I'll check back probably and again make another video tomorrow and update everybody as to how things. I'll take that as to how things are going. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.